Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lindsay and today I'm sharing with you my everyday makeup look. I don't think I've been this excited about an everyday makeup look than I am right now. I feel like I've just honed into some techniques and styles of doing makeup that I absolutely love and I wanted to share them with you guys. I've gotten some requests on Instagram and on YouTube to share with you just this simple everyday look that's very natural in tones but has some cool techniques that just helps to elevate your everyday look. So keep watching if you want to know all my tips and tricks. All the products I used will be linked below as well. Before we get into this everyday makeup look, I want to do a little bit of skin prep with you guys using this new kit from Hero Cosmetics, who are the sponsor of today's video. So thank you to them. But let's just start talking about this set. I'm super excited about it. So Hero Cosmetics, you guys might have heard of them before. I did partner with them a couple months back to share with you that they were launching at Target. I use their products all the time, so when they reached out for this video, I was very excited to share it with you guys again. So this is called their Rescue Mission Kit, which is so cool. I will insert a clip here of everything that you get. So I think we all know holidays can get a little bit stressful. 2020 as a year has been stressful. Maskne is definitely a thing that happens to me all the time. This kit, first product that it comes with is the Rescue Balm. This is the post blemish recovery cream. It has some really good ingredients that just help to speed up the recovery of your blemish. All of these products are just great for accelerating the time of your pimples' life, essentially, if that makes sense. They help to protect them, heal them quicker, so you can kind of just get on with your life. My favorite in this pack is the Mighty Patch Duo. So you get a set of both the originals and you get invisibles. So the invisibles you can wear during the day. They kind of just blend right into your skin. The originals I wear at night, or you can wear them like under your mask to protect your blemishes. But I wore one last night for this pimple right under my chin, and when it turns white, you know that it's ready to peel off. These are best used on a pimple that's sort of come to a head. So the last product that you get in the set are the micro point patches. These are meant to use to help bring the pimple to a head, basically. So before you would use the Mighty patches, you would go in with one of these. They have salicylic acid, so it kind of helps the pimple just to come to a head. I don't know any other way of saying it, but it, again, just helps the process of your pimple. Like, it's just gonna shorten the time that it needs to heal, which is awesome. I have a full pack of these that I keep in my bathroom. So I'll go in with this, and then I do the Mighty Patch, and then the third step is just the recovery cream, and that works beautifully under makeup. By the way, you'll see me in the clip applying it that I used under my makeup right now. I almost forgot, one of the coolest things about this kit is that all of the plastic pieces that are in it, you can snap together to use to store your patches, which are awesome because I'm going to take all of them out of the boxes and pop them in here. So it'll just be easier to find. And I think it's a cool packaging idea as well, because instead of like throwing away the packaging, you actually get to use it. So super fun set from Hero Cosmetics. If you guys want to check it out, I will have it linked below. They also provided me with a coupon code. So check in the description. It'll be right at the top if you want to shop Hero Cosmetics, whether it's something you want to gift for yourself or a great gift idea for somebody else. I've been enjoying all of their products for months now, so I'm really happy to be partnering with them again. So let's just go ahead and get right into my everyday makeup look. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I do already have my skin prep on. I will link what I use below. Make sure I wear sunscreen. I'm currently testing the one from Serena Williams, I believe, the 11 skincare brand at Credo Beauty, the serum sunscreen. I will update you guys on how that goes. So far I do enjoy it, so that's already on. I do that pretty early in the morning and just let that all sink in. But before I do my makeup, I always like to do some sort of mist. So right now my current favorite is the Honest Beauty Calm and Go face mist. So I just like to take this and do a light mist over my face. And this has a continuous mist on it, so it's super fine, and it's just been one of my favorite mists so far. Next up, I don't really typically use a primer. I guess you could call this my primer. This to me is more of like skin prep though. It's the Say Beauty Glowy Super Gel, the lighter shade. I love this stuff. I mention it a ton. It's just super like lightweight and has a very fine pearl to it. So you guys will see when I apply it, it gives you a very glowy look but without any weight. So I love it, especially since my skin is combo. I don't like having anything really oily or heavy under makeup because I find like it just slips off my face easier. So you could definitely just use this in the high points of your face or put it all over. Like you can tell it makes me super glowy. I look very oily right now, but it looks absolutely beautiful under foundation. And like I mentioned, it's very lightweight. For foundation, I definitely have a lot of favorite foundations. I usually go between the ColourPop Pretty Fresh or the NYX foundation I recently mentioned in my favorites video. I've been using this recently just because they're the most long wearing. I have a whole video series about my favorite clean foundations. There's a ton that I love. I love the Ilia one. The new Kjaer Weis one is really nice. Those are more light coverage and I've just been feeling more full coverage lately, so these are just what I've been using. I'm gonna use the ColourPop one. This is the shade Light 50W. Super affordable and just such a great formula. So I'm starting with about 1 pump of that and my Haley's Beauty sponge. I usually dab it on my face. I don't know why I just put it on my sponge, but oh well. And personally, I like to start in the areas of my face where I need the most coverage. So I just layer, for me, it's like out here. For most people, it's the center of their face, but that's where I like to start. So that wasn't even the full pump and it covered my whole face. You can use less of this product to sheer it out. You can even mix it in with the Say Glowy Gel to make it just like a little bit lighter. And it's super full coverage, so that's really all I need. Sometimes I'll take the extra just to build it up a little bit, but for the most part, I think we're pretty good. Next up for concealer, I'm taking my Cover FX Power Play in Light 1. My absolute favorite concealer. I also really love the e.l.f. and the ColourPop one. I'll link all three below, but I'm usually using one of these three. This I like under my eyes. It's also a good spot concealer. Most of the time I use the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer for spots. Forgot to grab that and they're healing pretty well thanks to the Mighty patches, so I'm not too concerned about that. And I place my concealer on the inner corners and the outer corners. I don't do a ton down here. That's where I get pretty cakey. Using the same sponge from Haley's to blend that out. I also take my concealer over my lids. A lot of you guys ask me if I use an eye primer and I don't. I have oily lids. Haven't really found one that I liked. If you have recommendations, definitely let me know. For the new KVD Beauty one is good. But for me, I just do concealer and set it with powder and it works pretty good. Usually I take the leftover concealer on my sponge and I just do a light highlighting, very light because it's just leftover product, right on my jawline. I find if I actually put concealer there, it enhances a lot of my texture. But if I just use the leftover, it like still highlights but in a very subtle, non-cakey way. I definitely use a lot of powder products for my everyday makeup. I don't reach for cream contour that much. So after my concealer and foundation, it's just right on to setting. I also find that helps a ton with under eye creasing, is just to set it immediately. So my favorite for the under eyes is Ilia Fade Into You Soft Focus Finishing Powder. If you use too much of this, it can definitely look a little bit drying on the face, but just the perfect amount is like perfect. So I'm just using a KVD, just this sort of like, it's pretty dense, but it's like perfectly shaped for under the eyes. And then I just start to lightly tap it, go in picking more product. I do powder a lot sort of right here and right into my smile line, just where my makeup tends to crease or get cakey because of my oils coming through. I always set the rest of my face as well. I feel like it helps with transfer. Just my preferred way of doing makeup. It just slides off my face a lot less when I have at least a little bit of powder on, but I like to use more of a glowy, lighter powder for the perimeter of my face and use a more mattifying one like the Ilia one for the center. So I've been using the Well People Bio Base Baked Brightener in Universal Glow, which is just a baked pressed powder. It has a little bit of a sheen to it. It reminds me a lot of the MAC Mineralized Skin finishes that I used to use back in the day, but it doesn't have like any color to it. This is a ColourPop F18. All of my brushes are either from ColourPop or Luxie, the majority of them. I got this from ColourPop in a holiday set last year. I will link below if they have a new one this year because their brushes are amazing and they're vegan and cruelty free and they hold up really well. These are from last year and like there's no shedding or anything. So you should be able to tell that even though I set my forehead because of the glowy gel and that powder being a little bit reflective, it doesn't give me a super matte finish. Moving on, I love to layer bronzers. So two of my favorites at the moment, one is from Pure. This is the Bronzing Act. They only have 2 shades of this and this one is super light. So I'm sure the next one isn't like that deep. They seem kind of just like light to medium bronzers. But if you're looking for a good shade range, I definitely recommend the Fenty Beauty ones. This is the shade Into Sun, which is the lightest one. I usually go in with the Pure one first. Both of these are matte, by the way. I don't know, I've just been feeling matte bronzers lately. And then is the ColourPop F21. Any sort of angled bronzer brush are definitely my favorite. I think these are actually like made for blush, but I always use them for bronzer. So what I do is tap it onto my face. I don't really swipe my powders on. I just find sometimes it picks up on texture. I've just always done that, and I feel like it just like diffuses it really nicely. So since this is so light, I really don't have to worry about using too much of it. So I just like to do a light bronzing along the jaw, cheekbones, and the forehead. And then dipping in to the Fenty one, which is definitely a little bit more pigmented and a tad warmer. I just like to concentrate that where I really want some definition. I would have totally loved to film this in natural light, but first off, it's always cloudy here, and second off, my house doesn't get any natural light, like barely any, maybe for like 30 minutes. So fortunately, that's not really an option. Maybe one day that'll be doable. All right, I feel like that looks pretty good. Next, I take the tip of the brush, get some more bronzer, and I don't really contour my nose necessarily. I just like to add, my ring is annoying. I just like to add a little bit of color. I guess it's kind of contouring. Next for blush, the blush I use definitely changes a lot. I like to pull out different things from my collection to get use out of them, and it kind of just depends what I'm feeling at the moment. Right now, I'm using the Lawless Vintage Love. I always kind of gravitate towards these pinks that have a little bit more of a mauve. I feel like they're more flattering on my tone personally. But yeah, I'm just using this with a Flower Beauty, the one I always use and talk about how much I like it. And this is like a satin finish blush. It's pretty matte, but not super flat. And I like to start this at the backs of my cheekbones and sort of blend it in. I used to never wear blush because I have so much like redness in my face naturally. I like never wanted to put any more on my face, but definitely a blush convert now. I do bring it to my apples. I just like to concentrate most of it back here just to shape my face better. Next for highlights, I've actually been enjoying 2 cream products, which is kind of surprising since I use powders like 99% of the time. But the first one is actually a new product from Rituel de Fille. This is the Phosphine Rare Light Cream Luminizer, which has this pink glow to it. It's definitely like a little bit too dark for me to necessarily use as a highlight. It's almost like a blush topper. It does cast because the base of it is just a little bit too deep for my skin tone. The other one that I don't find cast on me and is really beautiful, I also mentioned this in my November favorite. This is the Kjaer Weis highlight. I believe this is the Ravishing shade. It's this light gold that is just gorgeous. So I think I'm actually going to use both today. First, I'm going in with the Rituel de Fille one. And I usually use my fingers for this just to warm up the product. I'm just taking a little bit of that on my ring finger, and I'm using this lower than I would put a highlight just to make my blush really pop. You can kind of tell it's a little bit dark, putting it over here as well. I do have the Rare Light shade of this, which is the light purple one, which is definitely light enough to use as a highlight, but I like the pink one more. I think it's just more flattering. Sometimes to help blend, I'll go in with my sponge to make sure everything is melded together. Now taking the Kjaer Weis highlight, again using my finger, and then this I will just focus more the very back of my cheekbones. And neither of these creams disrupt powder, which is why I love them, because I prefer to powder my face before doing cream products like this. So if you're like me, definitely check out those formulas. They're a bit drier, but when you warm them up, they perform great. So this is pretty much it for my base. Just to set everything, I'll use a setting mist. I'm just gonna use the same one I used to prep, the Honest Beauty Calm and Go. And once that settles in, sometimes I'll go back in with my sponge if I feel like things are looking powdery, or just to blend everything in. I just love doing that little trick. But yeah, let's move on to brows. I don't often share with you guys how I do my brows. I usually just skip over because they take quite a while to do on camera, and it's kind of repetitive to do them every time. I'm gonna show you my like in-depth brow routine, so let's get into it. I do not have a ton of brows to begin with. They're pretty light, but I found a great routine I've just been in love with. I almost forgot, I do one more thing to my face. This is a new addition. It's the ColourPop Freckle Pen in the lighter shade. Sometimes I use this for freckles, sometimes I don't, but I actually use it for like the little beauty marks that I have naturally that just get covered up. I like to go over them. I think it just like looks cute. You can do freckles with this. I find it's a little bit strong, so I like to do it before I powder my face, because doing it under powder, the powder just helps to diffuse the color a bit more and make it look more natural. My brow routine is actually fairly simple. I used the NYX Micro Brow. This is the shade Taupe. It's my favorite tone of brow pencil. I really like the ColourPop one as well, but the Taupe is just a little bit deep for me. This one's a little bit lighter and it blends better into my brows. So the first step is I just take this and start to fill in my brows. I don't really have a technique. To be honest, I don't do a ton of brow stroke motions. I just like to create a shape and then fill it in using those sort of little strokes. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. We usually start on whatever brow I'm liking the best that day. So I actually start in the front of my brow. I know a lot of tutorials kind of say not to do that. I just like to lightly underline it so I know where my starting point is. And then I'll go in and start filling from the bottom. I do always brush the hairs up. I do this multiple times while I'm doing my brows to see how everything is gonna lay. And then I'll start creating the arch shape and extending it out. As you can see, that was pretty quick. So that's pretty much like my brow shape. I just go in and do the front and fine tune it a little bit more. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that over here, and then I'll show you guys what I do to set my brows. Now that they're pretty much on there, I go in with the NYX Control Freak Eyebrow Gel. This is more of a wet, just clear brow gel. I prefer clear ones. I haven't found a shade of a tinted one that I like. I feel like they're either too dark or too warm, or just kind of weird on my brows. So I just like to stick with a clear one. The wand of this is like the size of a regular mascara wand, but I make sure to get all the excess off, and then I just set them by brushing them up, and then I'll push little hairs into place if I feel like I need to near the front, but most of them it's a pretty upward motion. I actually never used to use a brow gel, so this has been like a game changer for me. For eyeshadow, I actually have 3 different recommendations. Next one you probably see me use all the time in videos. It's sort of like my own hodgepodge random palette. Some of these are ColourPop, the ones that are circular, and these square ones are from Makeup Geek. My most used are this one from Makeup Geek, which is like a nice mustardy shade. These 3 up here from ColourPop, and this matte brown. Sometimes I'll use the black. The shimmers I don't really go for on the everyday. They're kind of just in here. But this is also a Makeup Geek palette. I use this mirror for my makeup all the time. Really nice eyeshadows. If you guys were interested, I use them all the time. So yeah, that's pretty much what I use every day, but I do have 2 other recommendations. I use these occasionally. One of them I definitely use more than the other. This is the PYT Warm Day to Night palette. I do prefer warm tones, so this one's just perfect. It has a like transition shade, you get an orangey brown, you get this sort of cranberry color, deep brown for a liner, you get 3 shimmers, and then this champagne shimmer shade. And if you prefer more cool tones or like more green tones, I would definitely recommend the Day to Night eyeshadow palette, again from PYT Beauty. This is their original one. It's a bit lighter in tone, so you have like a light pink here, sort of a mid-tone brown, and then this deep green, again 2 shimmers on the bottom. I wish there was like maybe a brown in here just to tie everything together, but the formula of these are amazing. I think they're great value. They come with a mirror. It's like everything you need in this little palette. It's great. I'm gonna use my own little creation palette because it's just one that I use the most. First off, I go in to this mid-brown shade. Let me see if I can see the shade name of this. Okay, so this is Conundrum from ColourPop. Really great mid-tone, warmer brown, and I use a fluffy crease brush. And all I do with this is I'm not precise with it at all. I just like to put it in my crease and really diffuse it out. So I pick up a little bit of product to make sure that it doesn't look like too much. And yeah, just sit here blending away. So the type of look that I do, I could spend like either a long time doing this or do it super quickly. Kind of depends on the day. So I'm gonna kind of give you guys like the medium length. What I'll do, sometimes I'll just do this in a lid color and liner and be done. But if I want to build it up a little bit more, I like to go in with this mustard shade from Makeup Geek. This is the shade Tiki Hut, and I'm taking a smaller crease brush. This is a Luxie small tapered blending, and I like to focus this more in the outer V of my eye just to create some more definition. And I just love the tone of this personally. Once I have the color laid down is when I will start blending. Because I don't want to blend when I have a lot of the product on my brush, I like to place it and then blend it out. Makes everything more precise looking, at least. And before I move on, I'm just taking that same shade and a just small flat brush, Luxie eye shading brush for my lower lash line, and I don't go too far in. I really just focus it right on that outer corner. That's pretty much all I do in the crease. As I mentioned, I can continue to build this up or just leave it how it is. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that mustard brown. Sometimes I'll go in with some different browns. Sometimes I'll do this look but like a pink variation. But the steps are pretty much the same in terms of how I build up the color. And next I take this very light cream shade. It's almost white but not quite. It has a hint of like peachiness to it. It's Hear Me Out from ColourPop. It's one of the only shades I found that's light enough to actually highlight my eye without being like straight white. So I mean, as you can tell, I really love this. And I take a little pencil brush, ColourPop E21. And I started doing this, it's not really a trick, it's kind of just a technique I've been using. I started on my inner corner. I always like to lay down a matte before a shimmer just because it really brightens it up. And then instead of like sticking lower, I kind of put it right into like my eye socket. That sounds kind of weird, but I feel like it just adds like a lot of openness. Just makes your eyes look a bit bigger. And then I take that same shade and pop it on my brow bone. So I forgot to grab a brush to do this with, but I usually just take a clean flat shader brush. You can use concealer, you can use a little bit of powder foundation. Usually I just use like a clean one, and I'll basically just start at the corner of my eye and then drag it out. Like this has a little bit of that white shade on, and it sort of just picks up the extra product that got blended down. It helps to lift the eyes up, and it just gives a cleaner effect. For my lid shade, I'm using the Ofra Cosmetics highlighter wheel in Beverly Hills. I also mentioned this in my November favorites. I feel like most of these products I mentioned recently because I've really been enjoying them. I love this as eyeshadow because they're super smooth and finely milled. I don't like a very chunky glitter on my lids every day necessarily, and I just like to mix these two. Most of the time I'll go in with this light champagne. I'm already like going down to pan, and I always use my finger for this step, and all I do is just tap it on the center of my lid, and then I'll blend towards the inner corner and also towards the outer corner. Pretty simple eye look. It's really quick and easy to do, and you can like make variations to make this very quick, or you could put some more detail into it. And then I take the light shade in the Ofra palette and pop this in my inner corner and blend it into the matte shade that we put down and the lighter champagne that's on the center of the lid. And it depends on the day. Sometimes I'll put whatever's left on my brow bone, sometimes I don't. Finally, for liner, I used to do a black wing liner every day, but I've come around to a new technique that's a lot softer. I just love how it looks. I just take a matte brown. This one is Makeup Geek. It's called Chocolate Wasted. It's not too warm or too cool, just perfect. And then I take this flat definer from Luxie, which is like just a completely flat brush, and what I do is I just start by patting this on my lash line. I don't swipe it, it helps with fallout for sure. And then I follow the line that created by swiping the product up, and then again stamping it and dragging it a little bit, and then connecting to the lid, and then blending everything in. I love doing a powder wing. It's kind of hard to mess it up because you could just blend it back in. And again, it also depends on the day how thick or thin I do it. Pretty thick right now, but we're gonna clean it up one more time. So I'm gonna repeat that over here. I almost forgot about this, but this is a new addition I've been loving, the NYX Epic Wear liner stick. This is the shade Gold Plated, which is a really pretty yellowy gold, and I like to wear this on my waterline. Sometimes I don't do this, but it's just been one of those things that I feel like has really elevated my everyday makeup. It's just super pretty. They also have a ton of shades of these, so if you have a specific color that you love with your eyes, or you just need a good like black or brown simple eyeliner, this is super long lasting. I haven't tried it on the lid, but just how it performs on my waterline, which I feel like is one of the most difficult places to get wear, I'm sure it'll do beautiful. For my mascara, of course, I'm using my Ilia, what is this called? Limitless Lash Mascara. I've gone through endless tubes of this, tried a ton of other mascaras that I like, but there's none that I love as much as this one. Like, it's just the best. I don't know how else to describe it. Has a really nice plastic bristle brush. With my mascara, I like to apply the product and then drag it towards the outer corner of my eye. Again, just gives me more of an like a cat eye shape, which I love on my eye shape because they're more round. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to my top and bottom lashes, and then we'll be back. My final step for the eyes is one of my favorite makeup techniques that I've discovered this year. These are kiss lashes. I love false lashes, but sometimes I feel like wearing like a full lash every day can be a little bit much. So I found like just the perfect cut and length and style of lashes to put on the outer corner that looks super natural and always blend in. So these are Kiss 01 lashes. You can get a pack of 5, I believe, for like $15, maybe a little bit less than that. But so here's how they come originally. What I do is I cut about 3 groups of lashes off the ends, and then they actually go on the opposite eye. So this one is for the left eye, but the way that it's cut, it works better on the other eye. So this is what I end up with, and then the rest that you have here are the ones up here. So these I use a lot more. They're a little bit shorter and longer. And these ones I also use, so I kind of create 2 lashes out of 1. So what I do with these little guys is I just pop some glue on them, and then before I do it, I'll show you guys. So I just put them right on the outer corner, and I'm not even wearing eyeliner, and I feel like they blend in beautifully. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop those on and show you guys what they look like. I use the velour lash glue, by the way, and I reuse these little things probably like 5 times before I move on to another pair. So it's actually like I get a ton of use out of just 1 pack because I create 2 pairs of lashes and I can reuse them. I just like to peel the glue off of them. So we'll be back with that on. I just love how this looks, so I can't wait. There we have it. This glue is still drying, but I feel like it just like takes my makeup from 0 to 100 when I wear this look and don't do these lashes. I definitely miss them. I don't do them every single time I do this look. Sometimes I'll just do mascara, but like I just love what they do to my eyes. I don't know, it's just so pretty to just have an outer corner lash. They're super fluttery and light, and I feel like they blend in with my lashes really well. If you guys are looking for a style or look, definitely check these ones out from Kiss. I'll have them linked below. Let's move on to our final steps, the lips. All right, let's talk about lip products. Lip products are another one of those things where I switch them out frequently, but these are some of my favorites at the moment. Let's talk about lip liners really quick. My favorite is definitely the Taupe liner from Lime Crime, just because it goes really well with my natural lip tone. It's a bit cooler. And then I have 2 here, which one is actually a dupe for the other. This one is new to me. I got it during the Victoria Beckham sale. It's their lip definer in 02. So I will swatch that one. These are super creamy and long lasting. So there's the Lime Crime, there's the Victoria Beckham. And once I put the Victoria Beckham one on my lips, I was like, this color seems familiar. And it's really similar to a liner I already had. This is the NYX Suede liner in Sandstorm. You guys will be able to see pretty similar. So there's the NYX one and the Victoria Beckham one. The NYX one is like a little bit lighter, but they're very similar in tone. So if you guys were interested in this, maybe check out the NYX one first. But the one I'm going to be using today is my Lime Crime one. I don't do anything crazy with my lip liner. I kind of just follow my lip shape. I do overline like a tiny bit on my upper lip. But nothing really too crazy. For lip shades, I have 2 favorites at the moment. I will list a couple others that I like as well. First is, if I'm going for like a lighter look, this is the Victoria Beckham Bitten Lip Tint in Bisou, which I got during the sale as well. If you guys haven't heard of this product, it's like a gel lip tint, and this shade is actually pretty like purpley, which I love. It's so pretty. So sometimes I will do this under a lipstick just to have a nice base, and it makes it like just more purpley and super flattering. This you do have to be careful. If you have dry skin on your lips, make sure they're really exfoliated. I did not do that the first time I used that, and it just like stuck to the pieces of skin and made them darker. So beware of that. But my absolute favorite, oh my gosh, I just got this. I'm already obsessed. It's their Posh lipstick in the shade Girl, which is a pinky nude. It has a tad bit of warmth to it, but it's still pretty pink and light. And this formula is unbelievably like smooth and creamy and comfortable, so it's perfect for every day. So all I do is just put this over the lip liner, and that's kind of it. It's just so good. The scent isn't overpowering. They're so like comforting, and I definitely love this shade. I know like Victoria Beckham's favorite is I think it's the Posh shade. It's one that's more like orangey peachy, which is not my favorite to wear, which is why I went with the girl. I'm glad that I did. So that's pretty much it. Sometimes I will top it with a gloss like the Kosas Wet Lip Oil. This one is the shade Dip, which is like this mid-tone mauve, but that combo is just perfect and super easy and quick to do. All right, so here is our finished look. This is definitely my favorite version of everyday makeup I've ever done. I feel like I've just really honed into techniques and just styles of doing makeup that I just love how they look, and I was so excited to be able to share them with you guys. If you're not already subscribed, I would love to have you, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and you found it helpful and you liked seeing my everyday makeup. Give this video a like. Let's try to get it to 320 likes, so hit that like button. But yeah, that was about it. Thank you again to Hero Cosmetics for sponsoring the beginning portion of today's video, and let me know in the comments below if there's a new makeup technique that you've discovered in 2020 that has like changed your makeup game. I'd love to hear from you guys below. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.